Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of r/malicious compliance. In today's episode, you want to finish late tonight and start early tomorrow. No problem. Block my pay because as per your instruction I violated the rules. Enjoy having your own income reduced. Oh, you're the owner's sister. Well, my long-lost sister. Can you believe it, guys? Before we get started, be sure to subscribe so that you will never miss a video. Let's get started. You want to finish late tonight and start early tomorrow. No problem. Hi, I drive charter tour coaches for a living. Our industry is very heavily regulated, as it should be, as we carry the most valuable of cargo. Your family, kids, relatives, and if I fall asleep and hit your car, well, you can work it out. Now, one of the rules is after a working day a minimum of time and complete rest must be given undisturbed by law. This time can be reduced but only 3 times a work period. Between 2 weekly rest periods, basically between your days off. Another interesting rule is, by law, if your rest is disturbed, your rest must restart as though you have had no rest. This will be important later. It sounds confusing, but I can have only 9 hours rest 3 times a week, and the rest must be 11 hours, minimum. Less than 11 complete hours rest period and it's treated like I had 9 hours only, even if it's 10 hours 59 minutes. Because of this, most tour companies keep rest periods to 11 hours minimum, looking on the reduced rest as a just in case we get held up and get finished late, etc. So we can start on time the next day and stick to the itinerary. Now, we worked with one tour company, I'll call them Mega Cheap Tours, and their tour leaders like to squeeze every last bit of driving out of their tour hires. Excursions all day to some out-of-the-way flea pit, as long as the tour leader gets a kickback. Travel to hotel, then a dinner transfer and back to the hotel at night. None of it is the itinerary stated. Most good companies eat close or in their hotel to allow the driver to rest. But for these guys, cheapest was best. And if that meant an hour there and an hour back at night, so be it. Screw the driver. We are paying for him. The reason for this is the tour leader got a kickback if they ate at the tour leader's favorite spot. And they had one in every overnight stop. I had spoken to my traffic manager about how these guys just ignored the itinerary and was told just do what they say. They are the customer. Now, I was working with one tour leader, we will call him Juan, well known for not only working you to death but also stiffing you on your gratuities. He collected them from the passengers on the last day as we traveled to the airport to help you. Sat behind you, then placed them into an envelope you knew was light from experience. It's the last day of the tour. Tomorrow I get rid of them all at the airport. And good riddance, I thought, as the passengers are in an excursion. One comes to the coach. We need to go here for dinner tonight. Passes me the address. I looks at the sat nav. One, that's 1 hour 15 minutes away from our hotel tonight. You lot will be eating for 2 hours, then in 1 hour 15 back. Then I need to shut down the coach and park it. I won't be finished until about 11 p.m. He looks at me. I know the rules. You only need 9 hours rest. We will leave at 8 a.m. Plenty of time for a 2 p.m. flight. International. He was right, of course, but remember that 3 times a week thing, he had already had me on short rest 3 times this trip owing to dinner transfers. Not 9 hours but 10 hours something each time. This guy always pushed it to the max. It was at this point malicious compliance kicked in. You're right, I can work after 9 hours. I changed the subject quickly as he smiled at me, thinking he had screwed me over. Well, the dinner transfer was worse than I thought. Heavy traffic getting there meant I was late, which meant they started eating late, which of course meant they came back late. By the time I parked at the hotel it was closer to midnight. I knew what was coming in the morning, so phoned my 24-hour traffic department. As I expected, I was told under no circumstances was I to break the law and run without my legal rest. Massive fines for the company and for me if I did. Normally I set to alarms when I'm on reduced rest, as, to be honest, it takes its toll and I need them to get up, but tonight I set nothing and took my hotel phone off the hook. I went to bed. I woke up to thumping on my hotel door. There was the hotel manager and a very irate one. You stupid driver, it's 8 a.m, everyone is outside, checked out, with luggage, and you've slept in. Get dressed and get the coach. I smiled. Juan, I'm on my legal break. We got back nearly at midnight, so can't start to nearly 9. But besides, I've worked 3 times after reduced rest this trip and can't go anywhere until 11 hours undisturbed rest. Also, you've just disturbed my rest, as this gentleman can confirm. I was friendly with the hotel staff. They use the same hotels every trip and the staff hated Juan's trips. as he never tipped, or rather his guests did through his suggestion, but he collected it to hand in, which means by law my rest period resets and starts again. But you know this, as you know the rules, right? So see you at 7 p.m. tonight. I'm cool for a late checkout, right? I said to the manager, who was nodding enthusiastically, knowing what I'd just done. Juan's eyes nearly bulged out of his head, which was funny. Wait, what do you mean? We need to get a 2 p.m. flight. I know, I said, best start organizing taxis for the 40-odd people out there. And next trip don't stitch up your driver, as I shut the door on them both. I knew what was about to happen. Within 5 minutes my own phone rang. The traffic manager, asking what time I finished the night before, then saying you can start at 9, until I pointed out the 3 late finishes. Silence then. Well, you're right, but don't expect to be doing any more of this company's tours. They will request we never send you. I asked if he wanted me to drive without legal rest. I knew he wouldn't dare say yes, as I could be recording it. No, you must take legal rest. This is the tour leader's problem of his making. If he had stuck to the itinerary's hours, everything would be fine. Just do me a favor and start at 11 a.m. Not 7 p.m. We need the coach back here tonight. I knew when to not push it any further, and said I would be happy to start at 11 a.m. and would start getting ready now and go down for breakfast. An hour later I went down and saw Juan surrounded by angry passengers screaming at him with a phone to his ear. He saw me and came over. Mr. Driver, please, I know my company can get a coach to hire, and it's 40 miles to the airport and our flight leaves in just over 4 hours. My company are mad I've not left you legal rest, and blaming me. Please help me. I couldn't resist. Juan, if you use all those gratuities you have stolen from me and everyone else over the years, you will be able to afford to hire 10 taxis no problem, and make the flight, but I would be quick about it, otherwise you might get stuck with 40-odd replacement flights as well as taxis. Juan gulped, I bulged, and went white all in one. It was funny to watch, and ran to reception asking for 10 taxis. What was funnier was when the taxis showed up they said he needed another 4 or 5 just for the luggage. Each person had 2 massive suitcases. I just sat watching the show through the window, eating my breakfast and drinking my coffee. The staff thought I was a hero, and all smirked and looked on from their respective posts. I knew after this, no tips from the passengers would change hands and the cost of those taxis would hit his current fiddle bankroll hard. Or so I hoped. My boss was right. I never have nor never will do this company's tours again. It was quickly passed back I was not wanted. But Juan has never been back leading this company's tours either. My ex-colleagues, I knew my cards are marked as trouble, and found another job with another charter company very easily, have told me that now the tour leaders are told by their head office to never give the drivers less than 11 hours off every night, and factor this into any dinner transfers. If it can't be accommodated, then no dinner transfer, and no off-itinerary excursions. Period. Edit, thanks for the gold, my first ever. Edit 2, platinum, wow, thanks, and the silvers. Edit 3, in the comments it has been stated I set him up and it was a dick move. Well, I saw it as his greed for a kickback. Set himself up. The itinerary said 9 p.m. finish. This guy did this to me all the time. He was supposed to, as much as me, be monitoring my hours to ensure the tour stayed legal. Yes, I could have pointed out the night before I needed 11 hours, but sometimes you just have had enough, so I complied and did as I was told. As for possibly harming the passengers, making them miss their flight home, all this happened at 8 a.m., 6 hours before their flight. If he had got taxis then, which was what I wanted, him to pay out money he wouldn't get back, and he had the money on him plus to pay for those, they would have been at the airport before the coach would have got them there. No one was more surprised than me when I came down, and they are all still there. If they had missed their flights, I assure you the tour company would have rebooked everyone on the next available plane, then came after my blood. Also, folks have got confused about the disturbed rest. Why I didn't sit until 7 p.m. By the letter of the law I could claim this, and if one had pushed it I would have, but I'm brave, not stupid. If the guy paying your wages says do him a favor and start at 11 a.m. after your first legal rest period, I start at 11 a.m. Block my pay because, as per your instruction, I violated the rules. Enjoy having your own income reduced. This all happened a few years back when I was in high school and distributing bundles of weekly advertising brochures around a neighborhood as a means to earn some spending money. What is important to note is that I did not work directly for the company that made these bundles. Instead, there was the middleman who was also paid by the company and who oversaw multiple neighborhoods in my area. When I got my first stack of bundles, in total this would be around 80 kilograms of paper, I noticed that I had a lot of leftovers after doing my round. This is because here in the Netherlands, you cannot put advertisements in someone's mailbox when they have a no advertisement sticker on it. I informed the middleman of this, asking if I could tell him how many bundles were left over, and if he could make sure I got less of them. His response was that I would need to do a check of the stickers on my route, and report the exact addresses what did not want to receive the advertisements. I realized that this would cost me a lot of time and asked if this would be paid. His response was that I would not get paid for this and that my total pay would also decrease as I would be delivering fewer bundles. But then he said, you can also just dump them in the paper trash. That also works. I'm guessing that he preferred that option as it would save him some administrative work, and because he probably also would have his earnings lowered by the main company when the surplus would be reported. This would probably also spark some questions as to the situation on the other routes he was responsible for. So, doing as he told me, once a month when the paper trash was collected I put the leftovers in the bin. And that was that. Sometimes our own bin would be too full, so I'd put them in another bin that was already on the street. As we do not pay per weight that is collected, this would not hurt the neighbors at all. This went on for about a year without any problems. The company, and especially this dude, were huge pains in the ass, delivering far too late for me to complete my route and forgetting when I was not available, resulting in them having to pick up all bundles from my house again after delivering them to me, and then getting mad because they forgot that I was not available. One day my neighbors also started working for this company and this dude, and they noticed some bundles in the trash. They told this dude, and here it comes, he blocked my pay and said I was fired immediately. The part that I was fired actually was fine with me. I quit 2 weeks prior, so I only had 2 weeks to go. So I got out sooner than I expected, which was nice. The part about blocking my pay annoyed me. He said that I violated the rules, but I pointed out that I just followed his rules. After some messaging back and forth, he did not reply for a while. That's when I decided to dial up the main company, who were in charge of paying out the salaries. I explained the whole story, including my instruction to dump the bundles to them. They apologized and made sure I was paid out. When I told this to the middleman, he was quite upset. I can only imagine the amount of shit he must have gotten from the main company for his behavior. I know that my neighbors had to do a check of all addresses after I left, so he probably had everyone do the check and saw his pay fall by a considerable margin. Probable 20%, as that was what was left over every week. Oh, you're the owner's sister. Well, my long-lost sister. Can you believe it, guys? So about 3 or 4 years ago I started a business and we're still expanding. We have a pretty jolly good amount of people working for us. Our office is right next to the front desk, and our open hours are 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. This will be important later. So one day about a year ago I was working late and was on my computer. The doors were left unlocked because I was just finishing up some tasks and had to head to my mom's house immediately after that. Guess who comes waltzing in? Yes, that is correct, the Karen. Now, since it is past closing time, almost 9:45 p.m. the front desk is not there. Kay immediately starts yelling drastically for the front desk. Kay, front desk, I need a pass. I get up to go and confront her. Hey ma'am, we're closed. And Kay, no you're not. Do you even work here? Yes ma'am, I am actually the owner. Kay, you're lying. If you were the owner, you would know what the hours of this store were. Karen then pulls a face like she just saw a ghost. Kay, did you be break in here? I'm calling the police. Kay takes out her phone and starts jamming 911 into the keypad. Halfway she stops, anticipating and I give up response from me. No, I'm the actual owner, you see, Kay, no. You are lying because I'm the sister of the owner of this place. I can easily call her. I shrug and give her a business card, and she furiously dials in the number. I will never know if she actually called the police. They never came, so I'm assuming she didn't. When Kay dials the number on the business card, the phone rings and Kay just gives me this smug look like, haha, now they're gonna back me up. Instead, I gleefully watch her face turn white as my phone rings. I pick it up and say hello. How may I help you on this fine day? Kay doesn't do anything for 1 second, completely paralyzed, and then she hangs up and does this fast walking shuffle thing out the door. Never saw her again. Poor old lady. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.